Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Band and Lamb podcast. I'm Hayden Bandel. He is Liam Gianelli. And we just wanted to start this really just because we wanted to have a little bit of fun, talk some Temple football. Maybe it won't be as fun when we hit on those points, but let's just get right into it. First, Liam, how we doing?
I'm good. You know, it's Sunday. 1 week till NFL season kicks off. Well, technically Thursday, but it was a fun college football weekend. Maybe if you weren't a Temple fan, but that's the point of the podcast, to break down the goods, the bad, and the really, really bad. But overall, I'm doing good. Have a day off. If you don't know, we're promoting this tomorrow, 12 o'clock at Pearson McGonigal Courts. Hayden versus Liam. Finally, the 1v1 that everyone's been waiting for.
And basketball.
Yes, $5 admission. No, I'm kidding.
$5.
It helps. The funds go towards the station, help us travel. But yes, if you want to come out, show out, text in the group me. So I think I have myself winning 15-8 is my final score prediction.
15-8.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let the play do the talking.
You're right.
But you know whose play didn't do the talking?
Temple's.
There you go. But honestly, I looked at the defense, and the first passing attempt from Jackson Arnold goes 47 yards, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. Same thing, same Temple defense. But honestly, it was perfectly fine after that. After that pass attempt, the very first one of the night from Jackson Arnold, he didn't have a single one go for over 15 yards. Now that speaks a lot to Temple's change in play, their execution, just overall on defense, obviously through the air, because they did have a couple really big run plays. But when I looked at that defense, I saw guys like Elijah Darreville, who probably had one of the best camps in the spring and leading into the fall, who played very well. Just the whole back room as a whole, I thought really stepped up, and I think it allowed Temple to be in the game, because obviously you look at the final score, okay, it's 51-3, right? And you're like, well, just another blowout. But I look at that and I say, well, one, how many points of those 51 are off turnovers? The answer is 34. So you take that away, that's a 17-3 game if you take the points off turnovers. Obviously, you bring down the amount of drives that Oklahoma had, but still, you allow 34 points off of turnovers. That's not your defense fault if you want to blame them. And then we also look at how well they executed on third down. 1 for 12. The only time Oklahoma completed a third down conversion was on their very last snap of the ball game. I thought that speaks a lot to the defense.
Yeah, and I'm not going to just come in here saying, I know everything, because I didn't get to watch most of the game. I had a game myself for my high school team. But when I came to watch the game at wherever we were, it just that
you don't
first.
Know where you were?
I know where we were. We're 21. We can say where we were. We're at Maxie's. But watching the game, I saw Forrest Proctor, that interception. I was like, oh boy, what'd I miss? But the defense, I seen a lot of stuff on Twitter from the trend while I was trying to follow the game while I was coaching. Probably a big no-no. But I keep seeing praise from the defense. And yes, that 47-yard shot by Oklahoma, that was probably their plan from the get-go. Was probably just let's keep their foot on their throats and just make them uncomfortable, which is 100% totally fine. But when Temple goes out there, they knew they weren't going to win this game. And Stan Drayton could have prepared them all for this week as best as he could. And that's what we're not looking at this for. They got paid to go there. They got paid to get beat up on. That's the only outcome for this game. But if you really do some takeaways, injuries. I think there's a couple guys that didn't travel and such, and that's fine. They're trying to get ready for Navy. This kind of gives me...
some are not getting ready at all for the season.
Yes, Ian Stewart's out again. Just the injury bug has plagued him through 3 years at Temple. It's very unfortunate because I think he's a really good guy and could be a really good player. In the game against Rutgers last year where he got on the field, he had 2 catches for over 30 yards and looked like he was doing something out there, opening up the field more. But I just think this quarterback situation, the defense, if this is going to be the opposite of last year, where the offense could score and the defense couldn't get off the field, what's going to happen now when the defense has to come back on the field because the offense can't stay on the field? And it's an opposite reaction. Navy. The thing is the run game, because we're heading to Annapolis next week. I don't know. We're going to talk more about Oklahoma. But that triple option offense, 220 yards rushing from Oklahoma. I think 8 other guys, pull up the stats right here, touched the football. And that's just a huge, that front seven's got to be a little bit better. We know some players got banged up in camp and such heading into the D-line. But I think Stan's also, past years, have kind of hesitated. I know everyone hesitates on the blitzes and such. But if you're going to stack the box, now's the time to do it and see if we can stop the run. Because if you can't stop the run come Saturday, we're in for a long game. Might be a quick game because the clock will keep rolling. But for Temple, run right down your throat.
Well, you mentioned the time of possession you alluded to it. When I looked at the time of possession, Temple had the ball more than Navy did. Temple possessed it for 31 minutes, and Oklahoma 28.5. So whatever. Temple had 3 more minutes of possession of the football compared to Oklahoma. And when we look at that in the past, that's something that Temple usually never controls. They never have the football as much as they did. And even with all the turnovers that they committed, 6 turnovers? They still were able to put together or just longer drives, I guess, because they kept running it. But when we look at Forrest Brock, he's got to be better. The first throw he made of the night, it was behind the receiver. I don't remember who it was off the top of my head. It's behind the receiver. That cannot happen. And then it just kept coming in throughout the game. He did not hit his targets. He kept throwing it either it was too far or either it was behind them. And in that environment, and not even that environment, in general, you cannot do that. I get the nerves were probably there, right? We saw the graphic that was kind of taking over the internet. The last time he started a game, it was 110 people.
Oh, really? Actually, I did not see that.
Yeah, the ESPN broadcast put something up.
That's my point. Look, I understand he's the Division I quarterback now, and he's at a former school that actually had some national relevancy as football now, kind of going to the toilet a little bit. But, Hayden, imagine you getting thrown in there at Oklahoma. What would you do? You probably first play, you throw a pick six or a huge sack.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know what I would do.
Look, again, it's hard to go into that environment. Over 83,000 people there. So, I don't want to throw all the shade in Forrest Brock, but yes, he's got to be a little bit better. There's no concern. I don't think there's any questions. Maybe tomorrow at the press conference stand, someone's going to ask, is Forrest going to start Saturday against Navy? I'm sure the answer will be yes.
He should start. There's no reason to have that battle, and it probably ended earlier than everyone was told, but there's no reason to switch over to Evan Simon. It makes zero sense to do that. You knew probably 2 weeks ago that you were starting Forrest Brock at this game at Oklahoma, and there's no need to change it. Just stick with what your gut tells you. And honestly, Stan Drayton said it after the game too. He said that, like, not only Forrest, but just the team in general, that is not how they looked like in practice. And I know? I don't know. They don't really allow us to go to the practices.
That's also a pet peeve. Every practice should be open. I know they have some that are open to the media, but I think every practice. Once the season starts, I understand. But in the spring, summer, even then, it's not like the NFL where you can just show up in media. Even media's there during the season. You just can't record.
Right.
So I think that's also something that the NCAA should allow with new NIL rules and stuff. But I understand why it's different, especially the violations that Michigan conducted, stealing plays and stuff. But going back to Temple, with Forrest Brock, yes, obviously the bar was set pretty low to see how he would do out there. He kind of fell under the bar a little bit, but this just shows how – I'm not trying to bash Temple. I'll do that on air. Live, and we're just going to be honest. But how disappointing did Evan Simon have to be the second-string quarterback? And we don't know if he's second string. He could be third string. We don't know the depth chart after Forrest Brock, because the last time I checked, it said Forrest Brock or.
Yeah,
two letters.
I'm
being serious.
That's personally how it was, though. I think they knew that when they put the depth chart out, they just wanted to do that kind of because they wanted to confuse Oklahoma a little bit, right?
Confused Oklahoma. See, that's another silly argument because
Oklahoma didn't do anything, but
Oklahoma wasn't.
That's what Stan Drayton wanted to do. That's what the offense wanted to do.
That's fine, but you think Oklahoma was game planning for all three quarterbacks? No, they didn't.
No shot.
Yeah, they were saying we're gonna stick in this D with probably some cover 2, cover 3. Let's see if they can just go up the seam, the cover beaters and such. They might just run the ball, chew the clock the first drive, and just sit in a little bit the front 7, blitz a little more. So, yeah, they knew what defense they were running out there. They did not worry about who was throwing the ball, who's under center for Temple. I promise you that.
Well, Stan Drayton did say after the game, just talked about all those miscommunications kind of and just inaccurate throws right after the game. So here's that.
Look at the film. They were scared. I would be scared going down to Oklahoma.
Yeah, but you can't. Eventually they kind of got settled in. Maybe after halftime you can argue, but it never looked like they were going anywhere with the football. Like, how many times did they get across the 50-yard line? Maybe 4 times.
I think those resulted in turnovers half the time.
Yeah, like it can't happen. And we knew, and honestly, like being realistic, we knew the offense this year. There was no shot it was going to get better, even with losing EJ Warner.
No.
There's no way you can replace that.
EJ Warner didn't look good at Rice.
No, he didn't.
He didn't look good.
Saw that they lost to Sam Houston.
Because I saw some tweet on
Two
Twitter.
interceptions.
Yeah. So, but that's a totally different situation. But yeah, this offense is going to be nothing special. It's just going to be kind of games where you have to grit it out. My more concern was the run game. How E.J. Wilson was the leading carry with 6 carries for 31 yards. Joe Quez was stuck at 4 carries for 6 yards. Antoine Littleton got some action and stuff.
He had 6 carries too.
Again, this is just a litmus test. Like, all right, let's see who's got out there. Let's see who shows a little more upside than others. And now there might be some reshuffling of the depth chart come Saturday. I don't think there should be because I think this again is a wash game. You're 0-1,
Right.
but this is your first conference game now.
Yeah,
This is where you should prep everything. Like I know last year at against Miami, Stan sat a couple guys because they're injured and we're getting ready for Tulsa. And look what happened there.
Yeah, they were unprepared for that game. They cannot come unprepared.
And that's my big thing. Now, we're already over 10 minutes in, and I've been trying to be nice as I could. But you head down to Navy. Has Stan Drayden trivia, Hayden? Has Stan Drayden won?
I already know where you're going with this.
Has won an away game since he's been here. An away conference game.
He hasn't won an away game.
Has an away game. This is your best shot. Second game of the year. Wash away Oklahoma. Burn the tape. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just a game that you can't get back from. That's cool. It's not midseason where people are getting hurt, slump. You survive some injuries that game. Hopefully that week off, not traveling to Oklahoma, gives them a better shot to go into Navy healthy. But what happens if they lose? Oh, man. If they lose like how they did 2 years ago in that overtime game, then whatever. What are you going to do? Navy was passing the ball on them.
Dan Drayton didn't even coach that overtime game.
I know. It was Everett Weathers. And they fought hard. That was a better game than it was last year.
Yeah, overtime loss.
They did win, but it was at the Ling, so it was a home game. But I'm excited to go down. If you don't know, Hayden and I are on the call. Zach Silverstein will be covering the board. Tyler Blankenship will be writing, and Andrew Mayo will be doing photography. A little plug right there. But, again, this offense is just got to get a little bit better. I want to see if they run some more RPO and action, play action, and really let Forrest Brock air it out. But Tyler Douglas is also designed there. I think he's going to take that role at the goal line where there's some option RPOs and keep him there. But I'm a little nervous. I'm excited to go down there because I've been down there once, and I want to see the environments for a Naval Academy. It's awesome, especially West Point. But I'm nervous for Temple just because they're already down in the gutter, in the sewer, like in the water, dirty water, trying to swim their way back up. And it stinks because I just want to progress to the next point, how NIL has kicked them in the gut. Really punched them in the gut like a street fight, like you can't get back up. And that's where my concerns lies. Because look at the rest of the non-conference schedule. Coastal Carolina, Utah State. Like, that's not appealing. I know Oklahoma and Penn State come here the next 2 years, and that's great. But are we going to be talking about another, 43-line spread at home?
We can talk about that. I feel like we can go more into that. But I think, last year, they brought in Miami thinking people would come.
Okay, to be fair, that was a really crappy game to be at. It was like 50 degrees. It was a thunderstorm.
Still,
we were there. I was waiting in my cars. I was drenched. I'm like, this is stupid.
Do you think Oklahoma is going to bring in people next year?
Penn State will.
Penn State should. I agree.
Temple
It's
has
only the local schools. Like when Rutgers came a couple years ago, there was people.
Okay, that was good marketing because it was the homecoming game.
Well, yeah, they were
That
smart
worked.
about that.
I was there as a fan.
There was probably just as many Rutgers fans.
Even last year we went to Rutgers. I understand it's a Big Ten school, but it's Temple, and again, they have a lot of national attention. But that game was fun last year to go to.
Yeah.
So, were you there?
Yeah.
You didn't come with us then, though.
No, I did not.
Were you there for OSU?
I was there with Jake Gable.
Okay. So, yeah, that was a fun environment to be. But yeah, like you said, no one's coming to Oklahoma next year. You know what? They might just because Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a more national brand than Miami. Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Are they though?
Yeah, they are. Oklahoma, Miami.
All right, I guess football.
I know everyone likes Miami because the U, but Oklahoma, OU, Boomer Sooner. No, it's Oklahoma. But that's not the point of why people come to games. And again, I don't want to keep dwelling on the subject because it's going to be beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about it all year. Because I just want to focus some more on what the team can do better. But again, I didn't watch most of the game. I watched the second half, and I was just like, this game is over. Like, what are my takeaways from this? I'm kind of just looking forward to Saturday and what they could do. And again, no, you can say in the point, but the secondary was great, because Navy's not going to pass the ball. It doesn't matter about the secondary right now.
Right.
If that's your only pro, then everything else has got to get better. You got to go down. If you're Stan Drayden and you win the coin toss, I'm receiving the ball.
Well, he did that Friday night.
That's fine. That's okay. That's a good. All right. I don't know about. Well, yeah, I do agree because.
Wait, you just said yes, and now you're saying
no. It's hit or miss because I was like, it doesn't matter.
I was shocked when they did that. I was like, go for it.
I think Oklahoma.
Show some balls. Do it.
I think Oklahoma was scoring first regardless. Imagine Temple went down and scored. And everyone on Twitter was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's also my another point. Look, I can support Temple alumni supporting this team and all and everything, but things are going to be bad. I hope there's a little more recognition come Saturday against a more winnable game. Navy's favored. I did look. I didn't see the line, but they were favored. But I think they should receive the ball and go down. I think the first play of the game should be a deep shot. Don't know to who. John Adams. Dante Wright's probably going to be the
I
slot.
was surprised John Adams did not see the field a lot. Like, I saw he was in towards the end, but he really wasn't a factor on offense.
Was there a lot of 2 tight end sets, three wide receiver sets? What do the formations look like?
I think it was mainly 3 receivers.
Okay, so that was Dante Wright was probably in the slot.
Yep.
Who else was out there?
It was Dante. Della Pesca was the tight end usually out there.
Was Ashton Allen? Tony
Ashton Allen was out there, and
Xavier Irvin?
I don't think Irvin as much.
All
I
right.
have to look at the snap count, but
Again, I wish I can get the film and watch, like he said, but and tell you what to think. I know Landon Morris, actually see one play, he did get a catch. But I think you should just air it out. First play. Catch him off guard. What do you got to lose?
Yeah.
I think it's the biggest game of Stan Drain's career.
I can get behind that, right? Like, this is you mentioned earlier, this is a team that literally hasn't won a game on the road since we were freshmen.
Who was that against?
It was against Akron.
Oh my God.
That was their last road win. Now you're playing a Navy team who is in your conference, which is one that's huge, right? Like, if Temple wins, they're technically at the top of the AAC, which would be something that we've never even witnessed. So
Is there no other American Conference games next week?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so yeah, they give you first place.
It's either gonna be first or it's gonna be last.
But
so
you already know what's going to happen. You're going to see the people come out. You might see some people in the station and be like, oh my gosh, Temple's first. I was like, all right.
yeah,
Everyone's settled back.
pump
And
the
now,
brakes.
and now what happens when they lose? Oh, Temple's last place.
Right, but
so
yeah, like
I think it's the biggest game of Stan Drain's career.
yeah, we look at Navy and we say, all right, Temple's going down to Navy. 15 consecutive road losses, the most by an active team in the FBS. You got to go down there, and if you want to make a statement, you got to win. And if they don't,
A win to win. You don't have to go out there, beat them up. A win is a win. Survivor in advance.
they need to find a way to get it done. It's a Navy team that Stan Drayton only has 6 wins in his collegiate career. One of them is against Navy. Came last year at home, obviously. But they got to come down to Navy, and they really just need it, like you said. And we saw last year, they were able to stop the run. Obviously, they have a couple of guys that were in the NFL, or that are now in the NFL with Jordan McGee, whatever, and Yvonne Rigby. But
Hey, Dayton Moore Robinson made the 53-man roster from
Yeah.
Tennessee. Hey, blocking goes a long way. You're a tight end, by the way. So if people are speculating how he made it, that's why.
But yeah, they have to show that they can. One, they got to come prepared. They got to be able to stop that run that we know Navy's going to do. Obviously, they might throw in a few pass plays because we saw they did that against Bucknell last weekend, or I guess this weekend,
Yeah,
however you want to do it. Yeah.
Last week, yeah.
But yeah, they have to be able to just put their foot on the ground and say, all right, we're Temple, right? We're not worried about what Navy's going to do. We have to focus on ourselves, our X's and O's, right? You're not playing in front of 80,000 people next weekend. You're just not. And
It might be sold out, I won't lie.
it might be sold out, but it's not going to be 80,000 people on a Friday night in an SEC environment school.
No, and Horvath for Navy, they threw the ball 12 times. 7 for 12.
Yeah, no, they
280
threw it a
yards,
good amount.
One interception, and they ran the ball 8 carries, 82 yards, blah, 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 all that. I'm looking right now. Sorry, guys, I know this is bad. 53 rushing attempts. 53. And guess how many yards that accumulated in? 264. And Temple lit up 220.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Seriously.
they have to be able to stop the run. Obviously, that's the key against Navy. But on offense, they literally just have to execute. All it is.
But who's to say?
They had open first down. And we didn't even talk. I don't know how we didn't bring his name up. But Dante Wright.
I was about to say.
You have to be better. You cannot fumble the football, not once but twice. You were the leader of that unit, probably one of the leaders of the whole offense, and you go out and you fumble it twice. That just cannot happen. You gave them prime field position. One of those, or 2 of those 6 turnovers or so that Temple had, that simply just Cannot happen when you are looked at as a leader, not only on and off the field. That just can't do it. You can't do it.
I was gonna say who's gonna be the safety blanket come Saturday for Forrest Brock? It probably has to be Dante Wright. It's usually the slot guy, or it could be a tight end. It could be Del Pascal or Landon Morris. But yes, I saw a lot of negative reaction to Dante Wright with the issues and such. But again, even the past couple years, he had that one good game 2 seasons ago. We found the end zone twice. I gotta remember what it was.
Dante Wright?
Yes, Dante Wright.
He wasn't here 2 years ago.
It must have been last year. It might have been Akron.
Akron?
There's one good game. Everyone's like, all right, this is the guy we're gonna have. This is the gadget player Temple needed. And ever since then, you haven't heard his name called out.
Yeah.
I would fact check that. I might just be talking out of my behind, but while Hayden goes and talks this offense again, I'm not trying to keep being a dead horse.
Yeah, Dante Wright has never had 2 touchdowns. He had his first game. He had 7 catches for 71 yards against Akron.
Okay.
No touchdowns.
Was that his career high last year? Season high?
Yeah.
Okay, so since then.
No, against UAB, he had 146 yards and a touchdown.
Okay, so whatever. So those 2 games were his best, and his name wasn't called out any other times. And he's probably the best receiver in his team. Maybe John Adams, who earned a scholarship this offseason.
Yeah.
Great guy as well. But again, John Adams, Dante Wright are your best receivers. Like, what are we doing? Like, come on. Like, seriously. Even when that national Temple team was ranked. Who that? Robbie Anderson? Chosen Anderson? Whatever. Again, he's not a great NFL guy. He's been bouncing around teams. But there's slew of players that have come into Temple, even when they were nationally ranked. They were never a great receiving core. I think that was just all started with good coaching. And how Stan has been praised as a running back coach and such, I still have yet to see the running backs develop. Joe Questsmith had that good game last year.
Norfolk State.
Yeah, I was on call for that. That's great. And then what happened? Again, he disappeared.
Yeah.
He had some. I know there were some off the field issues last year towards the end of the year, and stay on. I think that's also happened to somebody else this past week who couldn't travel with the team. I forgot who it was. Someone couldn't travel with the team because they were trying to figure something out.
DeJuan Black?
I think it was Dwan Black. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing the first 4 weeks.
So a possible suspension right there, I would think so.
I think it's because of academics is what was reported.
Okay, that's also a big thing. Like, what's going on off the field? And
Dwan
Black would probably help on defense.
Well, Stan was asked it after the game, and he just said he has no update. So you don't know when
coaches
DeJuan Black.
do that. It's also asking Stan about an injury. No update.
Yeah.
They know. Everyone knows behind the scenes. But I just want to go record game by game, Hayden, because
I'm not doing this.
Because we have both opposite reactions. We don't think we're game by game, but I think Temple goes 0-12.
No, they're not going 0-12.
Okay, who they beat?
They can beat Navy.
Okay. They can beat Navy, but you're not telling me they're going to beat Navy. That's not a solid prediction. I need you to be
All right, they're definitely beating Navy. They're definitely beating UConn.
That's it. You don't think, okay. You went UConn, you went to the other team that started with the U, and Utah State. The coach should get fired.
Yeah, Utah State too. That's the only thing. Like the 2 games I told you.
I don't think UConn is that bad though. They're also at UConn. They're also on the road, Hayden.
It's all right. The streak is ending this week.
What goes on there?
Streak is ending this week.
I'm so confused. What goes through their head on the road? Like, why can't you win? It's not like you're in an SEC school environment.
All right, but it's also
not a Big Ten school. It's an American Conference school environment. That is so dumbed down. Like, there should no reason be why the environment is a problem in these away games. Like, I really
think
want
at
to know
this point, I don't think it's about the environment. I think it's just they haven't been a good team. There's not a lot of winning going on in general.
There's not a good
team.
team.
It just happens to be they also just never win at home. Now, maybe it's starting to get into their heads, right? Stan Drayton's going to be asked this week about, you haven't won a road game. What do you have to do?
Are you asking that question?
I'm going to ask you, yeah.
Okay, hopefully, you got to be the first one because someone might beat you to it.
Well, yeah, probably.
Well, I'm going to ask on Saturday if they don't win. When do you win your first road game?
Yeah, and then it'll really be in their heads because then he'll be like, wow.
Yeah, you have student reporters questioning you.
Yeah.
We're seniors, so. But we're 21. We're adults now.
I've been an adult.
Yeah, I just turned May. I've been an adult as well. But you talk about not winning. Okay, but again, if let's say they go 2-3 wins, what does that do for the program? Might as well go 0-12 at that point anyway.
If we're gonna say that, if they
win, first episode, we need views.
First of all, if they win 2 or 3 games, Stan gets the boot.
Okay, great.
If it's that bad,
what issue does that solve? Who wants to come coach Temple? Right? If I was a coach, I'd be like, oh man.
Yeah.
Why do I want to go here? Look at the track record that's been left behind.
There's not a bad track record from here.
The past couple years?
Okay, that's fine.
Look how long it took Icy Vert on Twitter to win the national championship. I know it's a video game, but he got to what 2059, whatever.
I think it was, I don't know, 51. Someone told me. I didn't watch it.
Whatever. I saw Twitter clips. It was funny. I would think by the time 2051 is gonna be a program for Temple for football.
I think it was a joke that they did that though. That they like recognized it.
Yeah, I think that was stupid.
That's like something that the Mets do. It's like you go bring in Huck Tua and Grimace, start throwing out the first pitch.
They were good on the Grimace.
Yeah, but still, it's just a stupid thing. Like,
yeah, didn't they have
doesn't actually do anything.
Then they had that girl in the press conference.
Yeah.
Meet the Mets. But that's not the point. The point is, yeah, that's just kind of like another thing. Like, that's the best person you can come to. A guy that has 8.7K followers on Twitter, who rebuilt your team in college football and took them 21 years to do it. Like, that's who you're bringing in. Also, I know Hassan Reddick's been there as well, missing the Jets.
Yeah, no, they've had a couple guys come in.
Again, I don't think it's a bad track record. I don't think it's an amazing track record, but there's some notable names that came to Temple in some different sports, even alumni. But again, it's just another ties back to argument. NIL. They're not going to win because no one wants to come here. They don't have the money to do it. No one's giving them boosters, the fundraisers, nothing. Nothing's coming from it. No one's going to come to North Philly. If you're a recruit, I'm asking you this. I'll ask anybody this question. Temple, USF, Rice, North Dakota State, and some random school out west, San Jose State. And you're from Jersey. You're from East Windsor. And Temple offered you the least amount of money. And North Dakota State offered you the most amount of money. Take everything into account. Family. You're starting in Temple, but you're a backup quarterback in North Dakota State, and they offered you like $5 million more. Where are you going?
I think I'm going to Temple.
Are you just saying that?
No. One, it's closer to where I live.
Okay.
I'm starting.
Okay.
That's two big things right there. I can prove myself.
You're $5 million less.
I'm playing higher competition.
Hey, don't diss North Dakota State's competition. Yeah, well, yeah, probably.
I'm playing higher competition.
All right. Well, that's your takeaway. But my point is, either you're gonna say you can go where the money is. All right. So Hayden ruined that experiment.
Yeah.
We know Hayden's loyal to school. I don't think he would do that still. But the point is, players are leaving. Like, we don't know EJ Warner. We don't know how much he was offered. To go from Temple to North Philly, where there was actually a big market, national media attention on EJ Warner.
Made really no sense.
National attention. That was the only time Temple had national attention because the last name was given away and he was actually playing well. And that went to Rice. Rice? Really? The food? That's where he went to, and now no one's talking about him because he's there.
Right.
I want to know what the situation was there and if the NIL was a factor in it because that's why players are going to start.
It's going to be a factor in everything nowadays.
Listen, I wouldn't go to Temple. Out of those 5 schools, I wouldn't. I would probably go to North Dakota State. I'm being serious because money talks.
Yeah.
And it sucks to say, but that's why I think this is why we're just these negativity talks. Why Temple talks is 80% of the time is just why his team is bad. That is the first domino we should be looking at. And again, I think there's talent. I do. There's proof there's talent. Like this past year, players got drafted.
Yeah.
But 3-4 players on a football team can't do it. It has to be 11 at a time on the field.
Yeah,
seriously.
They need everyone to just, they need it. Well, like just talking about this team in general, like they just have to play better, right? If Stan is telling us that they're doing it in practice, well, I don't care about practice.
I don't care about practice. You're playing against each other.
I don't know, and I don't care.
You're playing against each other. I don't care about practice.
It's what like what Allen Iverson said, or like why I don't care about it.
Yeah.
It's like if I cared about practice, then I wouldn't. Like, I'm care about the games, not what's going on in practice. That's why, like, this training camp stuff, I don't like how it's so overhyped. I really don't. Even, like, with college football, too. It's like, just...
We were at the spring game. The spring game was bad. That was ugly. That should have been our first test.
I was not walking out of that spring game with a different mindset of how I view the team. Whether they looked amazing or whether they looked horrible, I was not going to walk out with a different mindset.
Oh, I did. I said last year before spring game Temple's going 12, and I walked out saying, yeah, this team is going to go in 12.
Well, and if they would have had the best spring game you would have ever seen, would you have changed your opinion?
I might actually probably would have 2-3 wins.
No, thank you. Barely.
But no, they had an awful spring game, and that's again. And look, you guys just might think we're just negative, but we're trying to hit you with the facts. And that's how it's going to be. If Temple was 6 wins and we were just being negative the whole time, then yeah, you can call us out on that. But that's not the case. And it hasn't been the case.
6 wins would be a lot.
That's a bowl game.
That would be a lot.
Where are we going? We're going to Birmingham Bowl?
Beats me, probably.
Where they actually were predicted to be for, like, when they were 2-1 last year. They were predicted to go to Birmingham Bowl. Because they do, like, the bowl projection.
Oh, they were 2. That's right, because they played. It was Akron and Norfolk State, yeah. 2-1.
And they're like, oh, my God, they're on a track to get a bowl. And then right down the toilet. So.
Well, Temple will look to go 1-1 with a win, going on the road at Navy. Game is at 3:30 Saturday. We'll have another podcast reaction the day after calling the game. Me and Liam will be there.
Earlier, because 1 o'clock, I got to be back in my room. So we'll try to do this like 11 a.m.
All right, well, we'll definitely get it out there. But, yeah, so Temple going to Navy. First conference game, week 2, which is very early for them. Usually the 4 years we've been here.
The bar is set down here. You can't see it because that's how low it is. So hopefully they get above it.
And hopefully they can just pull something out. Stan Drayton looking for his first conference win of his head coaching career. And Liam and I will be there to call the game for you right here on WHIP on YouTube, and also breaking it down the day after right here on YouTube. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching, and have a great week.